Buenas tardes y good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now we wanted to have a round table, but we are here, some people up here, but we are not the ones that know most, and there you are down in green, in a much more bright color. So the three of us are going to be speaking. We have Javier Romero, then Romera, masculine and feminine, and my name is MARGA IN IGUEZ. We want to think all together after each one of us introduces themselves, and we want to give some thought to the new society, to the society of imagination, to see where we are heading, where we are standing, whether we have future or not, what happens with all of this, and what are the characteristics of this society of imagination. And we are within the section of creativity. We don't have any PowerPoint presentations, but it'll be rather a colloquium. I am going to be sharing some thoughts. They are not very much developed. Some ideas come from many years of work, and rather than drawing conclusions from this panel, we wanted to open up to new ideas, to a much wider world. So, who wants to take the floor first? Okay, myself. I am old already. I'm very proud. In October, 50 years ago, my life, my passion has been developing creativity. When I started out with this idea, people would ask me, what is that? What nonsense is that you're saying? Geniuses are geniuses, but now everybody speaks about creativity, innovation, and at this wonderful meaning, this term is being used constantly. Let me go back in time to refer to a couple of things. One, when we started speaking about creativity in our small and arrogant society, ever since 1980s, there have been 4 main generations in terms of creativity. First, the term was creative thinking, its characteristics, and different research was done on science or art, considering that the creative concept was shared. Then a new generation came, focused on problem solving and marketing. Then a new generation that had to do with creativity as a global element that has an impact on or impacted by your diet, your geographic position, your origin. Since, as you all know, we don't think the same way in the north, in the south, in the east or in the west, and the same individuals change their way of thinking depending on where they are. And then we are in our current generation now, in this third generation. We are now in the 4th generation, heading towards the society of imagination, to a new stage where we see that in the first two stages or first two generations, the focus was on the techniques used to create. With the third generation, the focus was on the environment, the atmosphere for creation, the climate you have for yourself, and what climate or environment fosters creativity, without letting aside a focus on techniques. And now, in this fourth stage of the society of imagination, the approach is that it's not only individuals that create, but societies at large, groups. Here there is an entire movement linked to creative cities and to global strategies for development of creativity, focusing on strategy. For instance, let's take a trainer that can develop creativity of their students, even if he or she doesn't know about creativity, by fostering participation for creativity. In this society of imagination, different processes of building and unbuilding are being carried out. Let me refer to a different thing. We had industrial society, then we had a society of information, then the society of knowledge, where it doesn't mean that everybody has gone through different stages. Not everybody has running water or other basic resources. And now that we are at the society of knowledge, doesn't mean that everybody is at the society of knowledge. But now, the society of dreams and imagination is emerging in the sense that what we imagine is genuine and authentic. If I ask you to think about a table and then you share your thought about the table, most probably we are not going to give the same definition. If I ask you to think about a table, did anyone think about a table other than a wooden table with 4 legs? Okay. And given a catalog, people might say, well, this table looks a little bit like the one I thought about. But as I was saying, imagination is unique and it is our power. And the current society of imagination that focuses rather on strategies than on specific techniques, for me and for more people, is the goal towards we should head, not in order to solve problems for the future, but for current problems. Back in 1977, I thought something that was my motto. I think that the GDP, the non-GDP, is the talent of the citizens, and not to consider that the real oil is the gray matter people have in their brains, and in the heart is very clumsy. And politically, it is clumsy and unethical. The talent of the society is our real asset, the same as your talent is your personal asset. So, what could we do to rebuild our society? I am going to refer to very simple things for the newcomers, let me warn you that we are trying to do a roundtable based on a colloquium idea. So, how are we to build a new society with participation and involvement of people, and all embracing a society that doesn't exclude people because of their ideology, their sexuality, or other elements? So we need to consider several things. First, how are we going to develop imagination if we already have this idea? I love you because you do what I say. I love you because you quit being yourself, you abandon your way of expressing yourself, because what is important is what my mom says, my grandmom says, the television says. I think this is essential, and it is something that needs to be tackled. I don't know where, but so we should say, I love you because you exist, not because of your merits, but since we are young, we try to do things to please others, and that is the way couples work. We strive and do merits in order to obtain love, and I think this is a very, very serious illness. How we have to try and see how to express your feelings, your will, regardless of whether the other loves you or not, even if human beings strive for love. Another issue that we should tackle before going into creativity, and which is pretty surprising, is the division. The students going through different stages in education. You go through the primary education, secondary education, university, your master's, but no one considers what is happening to you and what you do with what happens to you. So how can I realize what happens to me? What happens to my peers? What shall I do about it? These are some ideas I'd like for us to talk about, because otherwise it is like trying for people to have a very perceptive attitude, but if they don't even realize that they are hungry, or their knees hurts, or how are to perceive diversity outside if we don't perceive diversity inside ourselves. Another question that I'd like to share with you is that I think that this new society, our current society, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I focus on the present. I am referring to the current society. I think that we need a discussion, a debate on the role of teachers, of trainers. What is their role beyond educating through love? How you are to educate someone if you don't love them, or if they don't love you? That is pretty obvious. I remember how when I was studying philosophy, this professor told us about how someone looked for a philosopher to train a well-off kid, but the philosopher said no, because this kid didn't love the philosopher. So what happens? What is our attitude towards this? In this change, for a new society is going to be a change based on networks, but we need to focus also on affection networks, because we have many, many, many friends on the net, but who cares for you? Who touches you? This is something that we have to consider when we are building information and technology networks. We need emotional networks for the new society. And we need to work taking into account that it's not us, as professors or teachers, the only one that have to create things. Societies are creating strategies as well, and so we need to foster participation and movements that foster participation. And here we have to tackle another thing, beliefs, not only political or religious beliefs, but beliefs on the capacity of others and on our own capacity. One more thought I'd like to share with you. Ideas don't come when we think about something, but a little bit later. So that is why I'm sharing with you all these thoughts, and then we can come back to these ideas. We need to step forward. We cannot just think about thought. This goes well beyond. Situations are not solved just by thought. We have 4 brains. The 5th is being looked for, and ideas often come by doing. Edison said that he never stopped to think, that his ideas came while he was doing things. I am in this wonderful country, in the Basque Country, and this is a society for action. If language structures your mind, a language as Basque that has the verb at the end, it involves that Basque society is a society of thought. Some ideas come when you're doing things, some ideas come when you're feeling things, some ideas come when you are thinking, some come when you're projecting or imagining, and some others through interaction. I'd like to share a practical thought as a contribution after 50 years as a teacher, and this is something that I firmly believe. And there is an idea that is useless for creativity. The question is, what do you think? What do you think? If we ask this question, the answer will be what is expected. So I think the right question is, what's your view about this? You can show this. What color? Red. Some other people will say there are some words here. Who's right? Both, depending on where you're standing. You see things in a way or in a different way. So if we want to develop creativity, I think that the best question is, what's your view? Rather than what you think, because the answer will be politically correct answer, not what people think. So if the new society of imagination that will embrace everybody with no exclusion and with the asset being collective and personal talent and the talent of society, we are going to work from what we are, unique individuals, if there are 8 billion inhabitants in this planet, it is 8 billion genetically different individuals. That is what geneticists say. I asked Ayala sometime, he was an advisor to Clinton, whether that was so. And he said, yeah, there's no two people that are equal genetically. And he also gave me a very hopeful answer, and he said that the right hemisphere is more and more developed, and that we are entering a new era. That is something that all teachers should know. How geneticists don't come to an agreement whether there is a jump in the species or two. In the past, it took very long for children to have their heads standing or to hold their heads up. And now children all around the world, that according to geneticists, in very short time after they are born, have their heads up. This is a huge change as a species. And since the species is different, we are working in network, then the teacher's role have to change. They have to bring students towards what they are. And if there is a lake, they have to tell their students, look, there's a lake, but knowledge cannot be the same. None of our students will know the same as their peers. They will go surfing on the net, and their knowledge will be different. So it is very urgent to think on what kind of society we want and what kind of education we want. I am about to turn 71. I didn't watch TV until I was 14. So I am totally different to others that watch TV for a long time, or those that watch TV since they were born. That is something that was very well understood by IBM, then moved from analogic computers to visual computers. And now we have sensorial or sensory TVs. And a child that has been playing with the PlayStation since a very young age is totally different to what I am. I was very grateful some time ago, some 10 years ago, I was sitting at a cafe, and there this kid came, and he had a tantrum, and his father didn't know why. And so I was asking other kids, and something happened with the game, and students learn that there's no single path to achieve a solution, and the only leader in those games is oneself. That brings much thought regarding leadership. Has anyone played with PlayStation here in the room? And who is the boss? You are the boss, right? So the one playing is the boss. That is totally different against hierarchy. You have fun for years with a gift where you learn that the boss is you. You are the boss. So I'd like to initiate a thought in this new society of participation, inclusion, and globality, where inquiry involves knowledge for everybody, and where abundance is shared. We have shifted models. Some years ago, we said that first we had to distribute fish and then teach how to fish. But we are running out of fish. So we need to invent fish. We are at a new stage. We need to invent fish. Changes in the Middle Ages were very slow and inappreciable. And now they are inappreciable because they are so fast. Now let me give the floor to the next speaker. Hi, my name is Romera, and I am super stressed. How many people in the room are teachers? Okay. How stressed are you guys? Okay, you know that I try to work in the field of the education. I'm a teacher as well as a student in all fields, and I'm apprentice throughout the day. And the title of this table is Reinventing Oneself in the Society of Imagination. To my right, there is someone that when I met her, she told me the word unlearn is mine, belongs to me. I inscribed it at the register many years ago. In school, I didn't pass my exams, and so, because my teachers wouldn't let me use the word unlearn. I thought that I was new, sharing ideas, and I was telling my audience that we have to unlearn things. So I had this person to my right, and then to my left there's a genius. And so some days ago I met this guy. He was a genius. I'd like to see him working with children, and my daughter's face when she stares at him, or the elderly, because he's huge, he's a genius, working with his body. And here I am in between them. And we are speaking about reinventing ourselves. We have been here for a day so far. Throughout the 24 hours we've been here, how many times, well, have you thought about all the things you're going to change in your next school year? And so I'm here asking myself, what am I doing here? How many things am I not doing? Are you listening? I don't know how many brains I have. All things that everybody is saying, and so I ask myself, what about me? What am I doing? I think down to earth, what I think that pedagogy is, I think it's in the classroom with the younger students, down to earth. And so I ask myself, what am I to do next year, next school year, starting September 1st? What am I going to do that first day of September with 20-odd, 30-odd students? No one from my region is here. No decision-making person is here. Who is here sitting at this hall? Francesco Tonucci, the best genius, someone from whom we all should be learning. And this person is here to try to learn from a panel focusing on reinventing. I don't know how to do what Perkins says. I don't know how to manage this society. We listened to Garner yesterday. I don't have enough time to assume it all. I have studied many years at college, and every morning I get up and I say, I don't know anything, and I'm sitting next to these geniuses, and I don't know how to reinvent myself anymore. My level of anxiety is very, very high. But I couldn't take the floor without thanking the organizer. This is huge. And I wanted to bring the voice of students here. We organized this all for Carlitos. So don't forget, when you start preparing the new school year, that all of this has one single goal, and it's students, school children, because we are not designing a model of education on thinking. The most important thing here is how to think, not to explain how children should think, but to give them visibility. Don't forget for a second the faces of your children, because things are seen in a way here, and down to earth we see them differently.
Our colleagues have 30 children per classroom, in many cases from Morocco. They don't even speak the language, and they are the key. The thinking process should be structured for them. But I also understand that Carlitos is 3 years old. How many people work with small children? Primary? School? Secondary? Others? There's always others. We never know who they are. Carlitos is going to be 3. Carlitos has prepared his bag during the summer, and his teachers have also prepared their work in the summer. And Carlitos' bag and the teacher's bag have never met. The first day of school, Carlitos is so excited. In his bag, he's got a big pencil box. It's not plastic decor, which are pencils that that cannot be used to draw, to paint, because plastic decor are very bad. It's too hard. And say in ICOT 2015 that we don't want plastic decor because it doesn't paint, it doesn't draw anything. And Carlitos has special pencils with shiny colors. That's not an iPad, but it's just about pens and pencils. That's what's in his bag, a big pad with white sheet with no squares, no lines. There's no lines, it's just plain white pages. The best of the best, what is the best? It's just white sheets of paper, big ones. He's 3 and he's got a book with letters because he's going to learn how to read. He reads his style. He already reads his style. So it's about reinventing the society of imagination to help thinking about children. Carlitos goes to school and he's lucky. He wakes up in the morning. He's not lucky because he doesn't live in the Cenucci's dreamt city. He lives in a normal city. He never... In fact, he's dressed, he's given breakfast, he's being taken to school, and there's a traffic jam. And the problem is that mom or dad has no time to listen. But Carlitos is lucky because there's a morning class, and this helps parents to work. it's 12 hours a day for school for Carlitos. Is he going to reinvent the future? There's a maximum of 8 hours a day, but he goes from 8 to 8. There's a classroom with an apple or without an apple, but it's digitalized. It's impressive. It's just electronics all over the place. He's been taught with a computer. At 7:30 in the morning, when he arrives, there's a computer for him. He's lucky. There's an agreement with the municipality, and he gets breakfast again. There is a convention, an agreement signed. He is being given breakfast again. And there's a line, there's a queue to get into his classroom. Everything is closed in his class, in his school. Nobody can get out. And he's in line. And he has to wait for ages because he's 3. And children of 4 are different because they have a line for rucksacks and a line for children. He sits down in his class and he waits because he had a lot of things inside his bag. A dinosaur, his pencil box, but everything is useless for him. He sits and waits. And it's his first day of his first year in school. He's just 3, but for him it's the first year. And they have the red circle, but Javier Baun explains about the red circle. So he's going to be the 1. Number 1. What is 1? 1 is a soldier doing instruction. Because it's a very modern teacher. She sings and he gets cards, number 1 cards. It's the soldier. And 1 is this gesture, but at the end of the line, he's a soldier. He turns around because he's not a dyslexic. He doesn't go right or he doesn't go right because he's a soldier. The next day, it's number 2. It's another character. 2? What is 2? Is a small duck. When I was 5, I was a highly advanced student, but then I was lagging behind the next year because I had to reinvent my life. I never imagined a number of soldier, number 1 and number 2 for ducks. She says, I'm going to use plasticines. I'm dreaming of clay, but no, it's red plasticine for all. That's all. He's just doing small fingers of red plasticine. Carlitos is slow. And Tonucci says that to learn you need to play. And Freinet too. I'm vindicating here the simple things and the classical things. Traditional things. Here we are listening to very modern gurus, but I'm more classical, more traditional, more old-fashioned. But he's slow. Carlitos cannot go to play. Somebody told me, that the thinking corner is very fashionable. Again, the thinking corner. This is not serious. We've been battling for 20 years to avoid the thinking corner. Now it's a program on TV. Carlitos, he's sent to think as a punishment. But it's useless. And we need to reinvent ourselves again. At the end of the morning, Carlitos goes to the dining room. Everything is structured. It's a catering service which is certified with ISO 14000. It's impressive. With a person for 6 children, an adult for 6 children. Then in the afternoon, there's basic psychomotricity. And the families are so happy with child's stimulation in class. It's 7 p.m. and mom comes to collect what's left of Carlitos. It's been 12 hours of forced work in school. He just dreams about playing for 5 minutes. I want to play. That's what he thinks. But we need places to play. More than 3 people and places to hide. He wants to play hiding. We are asking for more time for playing. We want to be 3 children and hiding. You can't see us if we hide. We need to reinvent the basic games. We cannot reinvent ourselves because we are tired. He's back home, and and this is the end of the year. I'm bad in math, and my parents are really making a great effort to help me, I know. But so lots of homework and then educational support. Carlitos has to answer the requirements of the OCDE. He needs to be the following: to be adapted to changes, to have great will, know to work in teams, to be punctual. Don't laugh, because it's true. This is schizophrenia. Please, just collect all that you find in ICOT Congress, mix it up, go down to earth again, and look at the children. Listen to them. Listen to your kids. Because we need more listening in schools. A school with 5 senses, a school where you can change every week the smell of the room, a school for taste, for time, in order to use strawberries to paint, to have all tastes in your mouth, with real images in your head. A school for listening, where you can listen people and listen to music. A school where you can touch clay, where you can touch materials from your imagination, things that we can do with shaving mousse in our dreams or in our walls. A different school where we can learn how to look with eyes of children, go down to the earth and get to their level, because it's so easy to reinvent imagination, but it's very complex at the same time. We need to become children again, with their wisdom, with their creativity, with their calmness, with their quiet, and always trying to break the propedeutic value of school. With these 2 Ferraris next to me, I'm driving a Fiat 500 at the moment. You remember this person doing the programs on TV when we were children. I always come here to learn. Even if I work in university, I learn from these 2 ladies a lot, like Tonucci. We need to reinvent ourselves all the time and keeping our absorption or our learning process. Today, we are here talking about expression, creativity, reinventing, but now I'm going to speak out of my personal experience when I visited various cultures around the world. I think that the model is not Finland. The model for me is Africa, because there's inclusive play, this teamwork, regardless of the size and the age of children. Not everybody is programmed with the same uniform. We're not in the same group, on the same age group, and we're not grouped according to classifications. But there's synergy and catharsis between the big ones, the small ones. And that's something that we find in the south of Africa, in India, with music, etc., and many other peoples around the world. One of the most interesting experiences that I had was in Borongo, inside Burkina Faso. When we speak about reinventing oneself and creativity, I asked myself, what happened to my life? How come that I see all these points coming together in Burkina Faso? I went to see one of the tribes in Gorongo, which means where you hear the noise boro in the sand. And tribes always come to you and they sing. I don't know you, but I sing to welcome you. In my culture, I say, good morning, this is your home, but in fact, it's mine. You see, this is our culture. Come home. And for them, it's about singing. And then when children came to me and they were singing.
Mama liye, ho mama liye, sibonga we na mama liye, sibonga we na mama liye, mama liye, mama liye. Y otra cosa.
It was beautiful. I'm always in a convoy with medicines or with doctors or with food, etc. And then I came to see one of the children. I said, "Can you sing that again to me?" Yes, of course.
Mama liye, oh mama liye, sibonga buena, mama liye, sibonga buena, mama liye. Contra cosas más bonitas.
It's really beautiful. And who taught you this? Oh, my mum did. Where's your mum? There. Can I talk to your mum? Yes. Listen, lady, are you the mum? Yes. Did you sing Mama Liye to her? Yes. Can you sing it to me? Yes.
Mama liye, ho, mama liye, ho, mama liye, ho, sibonga buena, mama liye, ho, sibonga buena, mama liye, ho. Pero es la misma canción.
It's the same song? Yes, it's exactly the same song. But you said ho and hey, like Julio Iglesias, and the children didn't say, no, it's my adaptation. It's my invention. And where did you get this song? It's my mom who taught it. Is she alive? Yes, of course. It's this grandma over there. I go to see the grandma and say, oh, yes, you taught the song? Yes, of course. It's to all my family. Everybody here knows the song. Can you sing?
Mama liye, ho, 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 mama liye, ho, mama liye, ho, 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 sibonga buena, mama liye, ho, ho, ho. Para.
Stop. This djembe, and I told them, can you teach me? Because I'm very interested in djembe playing. Okay, in a while. You know that time is very relative in Africa. In a while is a long while. It's 45 degrees Celsius. I'm under a tree. I'm sweating like a chicken. And it's exactly when you go on a bus in Africa. They never depart. They never start because they wait until the bus is full of people. So this guy came an hour and a half later. He sat next to me. First rhythm, he said. Okay, I'll try. I was ready. Stop. I cannot follow you. This is impossible for me. Let's do it how we do it in Spain. And how is in your country? You know. I repeat what you do. No, you have to learn it in full. It's impossible for me in full. Just after that, he asks me, what do you do for a living? For my living, I'm a music teacher. And he was just like mad looking at me. Music classes, for them, it's like going and have a coffee together here, because for them, music is everything. Movement, coordination, and everything about creativity. That's something that they learn in the streets, like in Cuba. In Cuba, there's no place where it says salsa school. This is just for tourists, because everybody lives with salsa and dances salsa and sings salsa all the time. But then there's a guy with a marimba, or a similar instrument with ropes. And he was placing that instrument. He starts to do things with his mouth. And then, using this instrument, what is he doing? And I ask him, how do you tune this instrument? With my throat. What? We tune our instruments with our throat. Oh, in my country, we always have a tuning instrument that unifies everything. And this guy, this madman, says that he tunes the instrument with the throat. And they do all the same. All of them do the same with their throats. And there's no problem. They play fine. I was really surprised by this method, this creativity. I just was astonished with this creativity. So I took this with me. This is an African instrument because I saw these little children with this instrument. So all the djembe, the marimba, and now the rest. What are they doing with this? And I said, what is this for? Tell me, please. And the children told me, this is to teach creativity with rhythm. And they can use 2 rhythms and 2 movements with a hand. It's fine psychometricity. 2 balls, simple balls, normal balls, and you can use this like this. So this is for learning rhythm. Aslatua, that's the movement. I'm very bad, and I see the children doing this so good at the... Yes, this is for creativity building. Look, you do this, and you learn the movement first. And once you have it, then you use the other ball for the other sound. From one movement, you have 2 voices, and they all start and sing and dance at the same time. In other cultures, this creativity, this part of reinvention in life is natural. It's natural for them. 7 years ago, I went to Canada for a conference in the north, to Ottawa. They say Ottawa, or I don't know how they pronounce it. In the north of Canada, there's Eskimos and Inuits. And I had 15 days off, so I decided to go up north. And I had the opportunity to see the Eskimos. It's not true that they live in igloos. They don't fish. That's false. They have small houses. And I wanted to hear the personal songs. All moms and dads are creative. All dads and moms have to invent and create new songs for their children. When there's a child is born, the mom and dad for the first time sing to the child, and they write the personal song for the baby. And this is a personal and family song, and it belongs to the baby. And the parents create new songs during the life of their children. When these children die, or when the child dies, they sing the same song they created when he was born. They're not composers. They don't have a bureaucratic connection to music, but they have a connection with their emotions, with their feelings. In fact, from here, we want to appeal to creativity, to expression, to reinvention that we need to project on others. Has to be over us, covering us, and in exchange with our students. Share that with your students. If we're not able to be for 5 to 6 hours sitting down here because it's boring, how can we force children to be sitting down for 5 hours? If we ask all the colleagues here, what did you think about this round table? Every person will give a different version, different opinion. So we need to change our views, because some educational systems are not good for these children because they're forced to do things that are impossible for them. They're not engaged in creativity. What we would like to do, and I'm very thankful and very happy to work with these 2 colleagues, we would like to open a dialogue and put on the table various elements that are essential to try and engage in creativity for classrooms. Thank you very much.
Ustedes tienen la palabra.
So you have the floor. Well, for questions or for opinions, for disagreement, or you can ask, how do you see it?
Pero bueno, no. Bueno, ¿cómo lo ves? A ver, sí. No empiecen a hablar porque si no, no pueden...
Please wait for the microphone, otherwise we cannot have translation. Thank you. It's fine.
Bueno,
First of all, thank you. Thank you. I don't want to ask you anything at the moment because I have so many questions that I have no specific question for any of you. I'm very nervous because I'm not used to talking conferences. But now I'm creating a kindergarten, and I loved when you say that children need to hide away. Leave them hide away. We all like hiding away as adults. When something is too much for us, when we are disturbed, we want to hide away. We use our mobile phones to hide away. We escape the situation with phones at the moment, and I would like to do this in my kindergarten. And I have 5 to 6 hiding places for children. Thank you very much for that you said today. I remember where you kissed someone for the first time. Remember that. Where? Your great secret. It's something hiding. That's something you did in hiding. All adults are afraid of losing sight of our children, but children need their space to grow. That's why we want to do hide and seek with them. Thank you and congratulations. I come from Valencia, and more than 20 years in education with all ages, in public education for 20 years now. And we are very open to new technologies, to novelty, and I work in primary school. My classroom has nothing to do with a traditional class. I let families in the classroom. They are part of teaching and learning. It's important that families come with us to do activities with the teacher because we are learners too. We learn from our students, from our children. And we have lots of problems, red tape, bureaucracy. It's too heavy. I'm very audacious, but we have many problems, many obstacles, because people do not dare taking a step further because there's no time. But after this Congress, I see that many people from many countries, from Spain too, I want to be positive, and I think things are changing in private schools, in public schools. Little by little, those who dare are listened to. And we have to make an effort. It's difficult, but we need to be enthusiastic, and we need to have joy in what we do if we want things to move forward and change. Thank you.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. These words that you mentioned, let go and let be. If in Spain there was only 50 teachers as this guy there, the problem would be solved. No, it's not true. He's impressive. There are 2 blonde people here. It's my blonde. And 3 weeks ago, they were in Granada. Now they're here. I knew them in Bilbao. I met them in Zaragoza. They're incredible. They work in public school, and every morning they wake up to reinvent and change the world. And Diana from Lanzarote and people from La Coruña, we are many in this. Marisol, we are a lot of people. I don't mind if it's public school, private school, I don't mind. The problem is that kids grow up, so we have to be fast. These 2 blonde people are incredible. Take their telephone number. They're fantastic. We want to create networks here, and I'm just amazed at them. Maybe they think the same of me, because we meet a lot recently. But we need more people like these. They don't need decrees, they don't need laws. We're going to change the world because we're going to change school. And that's why we wake up every morning and we want to reinvent what we do. Excuse me for this. But maybe it's wrong what you say. Well, but thank you anyway for this compliment. There's a metaphor that the Japanese garden and the beetroot field. I'm impressed by your contribution. When talking about reinventing oneself, maybe we should change our vocabulary, our terminology. We always speak about violence. Let's defend tenderness. Violence sometimes comes because there's an absence of tenderness. If we stopped talking about violence and we started to introduce the word tenderness and all that's around tenderness, that would be a way to work around the topic of violence and trying to make it disappear in a way. We need to change words, and we need to change what we say to people. When you say, make more efforts. I remember many people who invent people. Manolo was an inventor, a genius, and he was asked, what's about effort? And why do you ask this? What about effort? Because everybody speaks about effort. And he said, this inventor said, if I ever heard the word effort in my life, maybe I would have never invented anything horrible, like climbing a mountain. And I don't want to make an effort. I want to create things. So instead of talking about violence, let's talk about persistence, which is not effort. I love something and I persist. I don't make efforts. The word effort is just putting you away from tasks and from activity. And in this change that we are operating here, I am always against these flat brain assessments. True, false, true, false. It's impossible to use this system. This should be forbidden. If between white and black there's 287 different colors, from white to black, there's just not two crosses, but nuances. We need to have a new society, but we need to educate with nuance. This is good for relations, this is good for families, and technologies today asks you for fine motricity, but nuance also is needed. Not just black and white. And it's not just about true or false. I'd like to call your attention in order to reinvent another story with a new type of assessment. I hear a lot about reinventing assessment. It's more than 387 nuances from white to black, and we should work on nuances of new colors. Not all trees are the same, not all bird songs are the same, but how can we engage this reinvention? The World Bank said we need to be all business people so that the public sector disappears. It's what I call educational castration. The world requires flexible people because ours is a changing world and the past is not the future. So different. And this is another contradiction. We want flexible people. That's urgent. Adaptive people. But of course, this is linked to what happens before. We're not reinventing from scratch. Good afternoon, and thank you very much to you three. It's a pleasure to listen to you. I don't teach. I'm not in education. I'm maybe the only one in the Congress. Why I'm here? I'm a mother. I'm interested in education of my children, but also in education in general. But I would like to say that the role of parents, mothers and fathers are so important for our children. And I would like to go back to Marga's words about love, and I love you because you exist. Not only coming from the teachers, but from parents to teachers, because you teach our children and we need to love you more. You are, and I'm very moved, I'm so excited to be here. You are the second person, the most important second person in the life of children. We need to adore you. You should be our right and your left hands. You are our eyes and you are our mouth. And I would like to love all the teachers of my children. And we need to go down the pedestal. And sometimes parents think they are on a pedestal. And we always say what is wrong and what is good for our children. We need to be more humble as parents and allow teachers to do their jobs, because they know how to do very good things for our children. I don't remember the name of the blonde couple over there. I met them the first day, and I said to them that they are so important and what they do, and we should allow people and teachers to work. Fly freely, please, and help our children be creative. Thank you. We'd like to be here for longer, but the problem is time. And time is after us, and I don't know if we have to stop because there's more coming. Yes, there's Zubizarreta, and there's more coming on. Thank you very much for your attention.